Hey everyone, welcome to Daily Revelations. Um, Today I'm going to dive into Acts, specifically Acts 9, because this is the story that, part of the Bible where Saul's conversion happens. He's persecuting the Jews and God strikes him down and he changes. But I'm not going to talk about Saul. I'm going to talk about somebody else in this book or in this chapter who oftentimes gets left out. But I think, especially as I was reading it today, it was the story that really impacted me the most. And it had to do with the response of how people responded to Saul before his conversion and during the process of what God took him through and after. So we hear of this man who is bent on just destroying Christians because he's angry. He's just angry that the way that he was brought up in the Jewish faith is being turned upside down by something that he doesn't want to let into his heart. And so God has other plans for his life, strikes him down, and eventually has him live out. Most of the New Testament is written by Paul. So, but there are some key players in this chapter who get Paul moving in the right direction. The first one is Ananias. He lives in Damascus, the place where Saul was going, and God gave him a vision to go and pray over him. And not only pray over him, allow the Holy Spirit to come into him. And Ananias and the church of Damascus, the one that Paul was bent on making these people the first example of why they shouldn't be doing it. And in turn, he becomes the first example to them of what God can do with someone he has appointed to be used. Now, there's another key player that comes into this story soon after this, and his name is Barnabas. Now, Barnabas had already been mentioned in a previous chapter in Acts 4, and this is how Barnabas is described. His real name is Joseph. He isn't named Barnabas by birth. He was a Levite. That means that he came down from the tribe of the Levites, who were the priests of the temple. They were the chosen people that could only enter the tabernacle, and especially the most holy place. So he had a special designation already. God had put him in a family that gave him that prominence. But his family at some point had left Jerusalem because they said he was from Cyprus, which is an island off of the coast of where Jerusalem is. So his family wasn't involved in all of these things. The funny thing is Saul came from the same line. So here is a man who understood what Saul had been raised with. He had already been converted to a Christian, and so much so that the gifting that God had put onto Barnabas was encouragement. Barnabas was an encourager, and God used that gift of encouragement to come alongside Saul and to help him to integrate into the Christian church, because at that point everyone feared him. They didn't want anything to do with him. And this is what it says specifically in chapter 20, or in chapter 9, verse 27. But Barnabas. Everyone was fearing him. The Jews wanted to kill him now because he had traded sides. He was a traitor. The Christians thought that he was trying to trick them. But Barnabas. Can we be a but Barnabas? Can we be the one who says, no, God is working in this person's life. And no matter what they've done in their past, no matter what God has allowed them to go through. Morning, Daria. Thanks for joining me. Can we be an encourager instead of a grumbler or complainer or someone who's pointing fingers or someone who's like the Christians who are living in fear of who they prejudged Saul was going to turn back into, that God had done something in their life. And later on in chapter 11, as we go on through Acts, Barnabas still becomes a key player. He eventually goes on mission when Saul becomes Paul, and is an encourager to many. And this is what he's described at. He is a good man. He was full of the Spirit and full of faith. And that when he went places, people felt encouraged. They felt like they could keep going. And we had a discussion this morning in my biblical theology class about what God does when people grumble. And it's shown throughout the history of the Jewish people that when they grumbled, God put a leader over them because they weren't looking at the right things. They needed a person in that place to say, what you're looking at doesn't matter. Look this way. And that's what Barnabas was. Barnabas was one of those people that says, yes, we're being persecuted. All these things are going on, but look this way. He was an encourager. He was willing to let God show him what he needed to look at instead of getting stuck in the muck of the circumstances that were then and now. And so when we respond to things, do we allow God to put that bit of encouragement in us, that vision of something more? Or do we start to complain? And the result of that is God's going to put somebody in front of you to lead you because you're getting off track. Or do we press through and say, God, I know that I'm seeing this incorrectly because my heart wants to grumble and I want to complain or I want to be in fear because this is a fearful situation? Or can we push past that to become a Barnabas and to say, I know that this is what exists here, but I'm choosing to see beyond it, to see what God has beyond it, so that God can use me to lead others to what's beyond it. Because God's not going to allow me to influence others if all I'm doing is staying stuck. He's going to go around me and use somebody else. And that's what we see happen in the church. Barnabas got called out to lead because he was willing to see past what was going on and to see where God was working. And so as you think about today and what is going on in your life, do we focus solely on my initial response? Do I do that? Yeah, I do a lot. Or can I just give it up to God and say, God, okay, this is how I'm feeling about this, but I know it's not true. I want to see beyond it. I want to be like Barnabas. I want to trust you and to walk in faith that what you're doing isn't exactly what I see it as. It's something different, something better, and something that's going to encourage others in their faith if I take that step of faith and go beyond my fears, go beyond my prejudgments of others, go beyond all the sinful reactions that I would rather take, that naturally I do take, and instead react and respond as you fill me up and give me the strength to do that. So, because only in his strength can we do that, not on our own. So thanks for joining me today on Daily Revelations. Sorry, I was a little long-winded today, but I've got an exciting thing too. I've started a new community where I'm going to be posting these videos and also where we can chat. And I'm going to post a link to that probably at the bottom of this video. So if you want to join that, it's on an app called The Jump. And it's a brand new app that's coming out. It's developed by some awesome Christian men, and they are doing amazing things. And all of the data on there is HIPAA safe. So they aren't going to troll you for all your information, and they aren't going to be watching our conversations. So I encourage you to join that, as well as just be encouraged today that God has something more going on in whatever you're facing. So thanks, everybody, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye. Or I'll see you on the